what this looks like. All right, I can't watch the second OBS while we're talking because it's delayed 2 seconds from what I'm doing and it's fucking me up.
Just watch the Scott face only.
No, because the Scott face is delayed from the voice I hear in my head.
Oh, just listen to the Discord only.
No, I am listening to the Discord only now, but the Discord only won't match up with the Scott face.
I guess not.
Let me turn off the preview there.
Oh, something's happening on this stream on YouTube.
Yeah. We'll see if there's there's 2 listeners.
Did you hear yourself say can't watch the whatever?
I didn't. I'm not listening to anything from any of these streams.
Because I had to pause the
I'm just saying stuff. There's one person watching, and I think it's you.
Yep, it's me.
Ba ba beep bop beep bop boop bop beep bop ba 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 ba.
Oh yeah, the YouTube is super delayed.
Yeah, because it's getting delayed by the RTMP server, and then my OBS buffer in the outbound one, and then YouTube has its own buffer.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I played with my watch, then I saw myself play with my watch. Let's see. Touch my arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I
just did a rough calculation. There are 8 megabytes of buffers that I know of
19,
between
20,
me and that YouTube
21,
stream now.
22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.
Oh, people are trickling in.
29, 30, 31, 32 seconds before my arm tap made it to YouTube.
Wow.
So that's how much delaying is happening.
So, all right. So I'm just telling the listener, if you complain about something, give us 60-ish seconds to correct it. There are 3 OBSs involved in this. All right. I guess we can just start the show then. Hit record.
Oh, right, an audition.
Yeah, that's the only one that matters.
Okay.
Everything else can fail, and I'm fine.
Audition is now recording. Audition is recording now.
All right, and my audition is also recording.
Okay.
Do. Why is it playing audio? All right, whatever. Audition. There we go. All right, we'll do the show. Oh, people are saying our lip sync looks good.
Okay, sure.
So we did something right.
If they say so.
It's mad
we'll
about
see how long that lasts.
It's mad about my keyframe frequency. I'm gonna fix that really quick.
Uh-oh.
I'm using VBR and I set it to auto. I think I'll just set it to.
Oh, to send to YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't use VBR. Just send them 6,000.
Yep, no, it is 6,000. Sorry, it's CBR. But I set it to auto keyframe, and for some reason it's sending keyframes less frequently. Yep. All right, I hard set it to 2, so whatever. We can start. Be a slight blip, and then it will resume. Okay, we can start. We're good. And you hit record, right? You're good?
Yeah, the audition is moving.
All
I can
right,
see it
cool.
moving.
It's Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we are talking about Luigi's Mansion 3 on the Nintendo Switch. So, this would normally be meta, but, we keep trying to increase and improve the Geek Nights pipeline. So we are now streaming this show live on YouTube with both my face and Scott's face, thanks to 3 OBSs plus an Nginx server that was pre-configured by someone we sent money to.
Yep. It surprisingly requires a lot of technological hardware or software. You can either spend money on hardware to make life easy,
yep,
or you can spend a lot of time configuring free software that kind of sucks, or you can buy software that's easier, that doesn't suck so much.
What sucks, though, is that OBS is better than a lot of paid software in many areas, but not all areas.
No, not all areas at all. But yeah, it seems to be working enough.
Yeah.
I think the problem, bit of a hassle.
The problem I run into the most, but we'll save this for a Monday show, but what I will say is that consumer level networking hardware, like consumer level routers, just are not great. And I got too used to real stuff.
I think the biggest problem really is just that you can only have so many, video input devices on like a computer.
True.
Right? So if you want to have like multiple things involved, you want to stream from different devices. Like I want to show you my iPad screen and my face and Rim's face and right. It's like with audio. Well, there's a device called like a mixer you can buy.
Yep,
and get a
they're
lot
expensive.
Of microphones.
I spent a lot of money on our mixer, but you know what?
But you can just get a mixer.
Yeah, but even better.
And you plug as many audio input devices as you want into it,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
Yep,
right?
but the other part of it
Whereas-
is because that mixer is like the technology behind mixers is mature and stable, it just works. Like,
Well, that's not the problem of just working, right? So OBS is the video mixer. It just works. The problem is when you buy an audio mixer, a hardware one, it has 1 million audio inputs on it.
Yep.
Your computer doesn't have enough video inputs, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
OBS will all recognize independently of each other as different inputs.
Yep.
So you need to use
Which I could just buy a
various
video capture card, but then you run into all the encoder issues and timing.
You can only
and
have so
sync.
many of those for one computer.
But
so the RTMP solution is where instead is each device that is a video source will stream itself to a server, right? So and then OBS will look at all of those streams as individual video sources and mix them. But now every video source you have has to have a network connection. So like my really good camera doesn't have a network card in it. It has Wi-Fi, but it can't stream over that Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Right? That's not a feature it offers. So
But I am using
that's
a significant amount of bandwidth streaming everything both internally and from Scott. On next
we
Monday,
have a lot of bandwidth. We might as well use it.
you know what? Next Monday's show, maybe we'll talk about this pipeline and like what we had to do. Because I realized something, kind of an aside, talking to some of our friends who want to stream stuff. Scott and I can figure this out because we are both professionals. Like we know a lot about technology and networking.
Yeah, if a normal person wants to do anything that out-of-the-box software just does not do and they don't want to pay money, they are boned.
Yep. Like good luck getting this going if you don't know networking. Never mind like how to synchronize audio and video and like time codes and shit. The 8 megabytes of network buffers that are hanging out in here. But I digress. It's Tuesday. We can talk about games. And the first news we got, you might remember a humble little game called Torchbearer.
Oh, yeah.
I've only played it a few times.
Oh, yeah. So they have announced Torchbearer 2nd Edition.
I wonder if it's anything like
they
Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition.
All right. They've got a huge Kickstarter that launched today. And there are various levels of kicking that you can select from, right? The lowest level, I think, is just the game PDF, and that's it. The highest levels include 3 different books. There's the regular book, there's a Dungeoneer's Handbook, and there is a Scholar's Guide.
Ooh.
The Dungeoneer's Handbook is the first book. That's like Player's Handbook, right? Scholar's Guide, I think, is the...
I mean, the highest one is for game stores only. The feasting
no,
table.
no, I'm talking about the 3 books, not the levels.
Oh, yeah. We got the Lore Master's Manual. We've got the Dungeoneer's
Right, the Lore
Handbook.
Master's Manual is like extra optional rules, and then there's basically the other 2 books are basically Player's Handbook and DM Guide, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go higher in level, you can get Game Master screens. You can get action decks. I highly recommend the action decks.
They make
for
Torchbearer a
Torchbearer.
million times easier to play.
Yeah, so you get 2, but you can add more decks if you as bonuses at the end. And then you can also get they had counters to help you do tracking on the GM screen of like what turn it is and whatnot. Then they have some player decks, which are okay. There's a deck of cards you can use to keep track of like your armors and weapons and things like that.
Yep.
Conditions. Those are not necessary, but they're nice.
Ooh, the wooden card holder.
Right, they're adding some wooden card holders, a custom wooden dice set, and some custom metal coins based on how high your pledge increases to.
I own too
then
many custom metal coins from other Kickstarters already.
Yeah, it seems unnecessary. So if you want to play an RPG that is a dungeon crawling RPG, much in the ways of First Ed D&D, but is modern and streamlined and better in every conceivable way, And this is now your time. Maybe you have Torchbearer first ed, in which case I don't know what you're going to do with that. Probably
I've got that too.
Leave it on the shelf.
How many different editions of Burning Wheel do I have a bunch of books of?
Yeah, I'm not getting a Torchbearer 3E. They can, right? Unless I play Torchbearer 2E so much.
Yep.
Right?
But the thing is, the games I'm actually into playing right now, I mean, online I got a good Burning Wheel game going. And even then we found there are multiple sub-editions of Burning Wheel Gold that have slightly different rules on some pages. So...
Yeah, I mean,
we had
the
a
reason
dispute in-game. The dispute in-game came down to, what is the fourth word on page whatever, and then we discovered the problem.
Right. Normally, I would have been like, I think under normal circumstances, I would have looked at Torchbearer 2E and said, man, I love Torchbearer, but I didn't play Torchbearer 1E enough. I could just play Torchbearer 1E more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I buy 2E? When am I even going to play it, right? Even though the people who make it, right, Luke and Tor, I'm close with them, right? I like to support them. Why would I go for this? But I guess I'll go for it because what else do I have to do?
Yep. This is the time. If you want to play RPGs, do it on Discord. It just works. The Burning Wheel game we've been playing on Discord works so well. And there's a design consideration, like a user experience thing I didn't really think about. One, our friend Tracy made a bot that handles all the Burning Wheel dice rolling, like perfectly. But two, basically, whoever's role-playing in the voice chat, everyone else, all the table chatter and like the meta commentary and all the nonsense, people are just typing that shit without interrupting the role playing. So it actually ends up being better role playing than I tend to see at the table.
Oh, that's not bad.
Like, I did not expect that to happen, but it happened. So people are like posting GIFs in the text channel and DMing each other, and there's a bunch of fun going on in there while like the three characters involved in the scene are doing their thing.
My hope is that I'm so starved for role playing by the time we can role play in person again. That this will be.
I've got a Blades in the Dark game that I'm ready to run that I was planning to start like literally right after PAX East, and then of course things happened. But I don't know if I could run that game on Discord because not all the people involved I think could get the technology working enough for voice chat to work effectively. So I'm just gonna wait.
Mm-hmm.
So, other news in the gaming world. This is actually kind of a big deal. There is a significant update to Mario Maker 2.
Oh, yeah.
I would say...
Well, it's also the final major update. There might be minor updates in the future, but there will not be supposedly major updates in the future.
But it added the sole feature that prevented me from going deep into Mario Maker.
The lack of Fanto?
Yeah. While I care about Fanto a great deal, the thing I wanted more than anything was to be able to make a world. I wanted to be able to make a bunch of different levels that are all tied together and make a real game. I'm not interested in these like one-off like level experiences. I want to make a world with secrets and stuff. And that is exactly what you can do now.
Yeah, you can even put mushroom houses on your map.
Yeah. I saw that image and I knew what was happening, and then I read what was added, and that was exactly it. That's the main feature. So now, Mario Maker...
They've also added a lot of other things. They added frog suit, boomerang suit. You can
the Mario 2 mushroom.
The Mario 2 mushroom, which will let you jump on bad guys and throw them.
That actually is really important to a kind of level I kind of want to make that now I can actually make. Like, that adds a feature I needed to make the specific kind of level. I'm going deep into this.
Yeah, the previous Mario Maker 2 updates added a lot of stuff, but this one adds a lot more than those ones added.
I wonder if these were all intended to be smaller updates along the way and Nintendo accelerated it because of the quarantines.
Well, I figured what Nintendo seems to do is they put out a game, and their DLC strategy seems to be don't be evil, right? Don't do microtransaction bullshit, right? At least not on console. They do it on some mobile apps like the Animal Crossing, whatever, right?
Yep.
The Animal Crossing that's on the phone, not the real one.
Yeah.
And then what they do with the DLCs is I think it allows them to release the game earlier when there's still stuff in development. They can still get the game out there, right? And then 2, the DLCs that they sell, they make a little bit more money. It's like, all right, we sold you the game for $60. We did $60 of work. We're going to give even more stuff. It might be free, like it is with Mario Maker, or it might not be, like with Zelda. There was some extra stuff you had to pay for, or Smash Brothers you had to pay for, right? And that stuff keeps the game alive, right? And by keeping the game alive, you are basically extending the sales on that game, right? So someone like Mario Maker 2 came out, people played it, and they played it out, right? And now it's like, well, why would you play Mario Maker 2 now? That game got played out.
And if you want to go online, like most of the things people are making is just like Kaizo nonsense.
Right. But now by putting this update, people are going to come back to Mario Maker who have it already. And people who say maybe bought a Switch to get Animal Crossing, maybe Mario Maker will be their second game because that game is basically like new again.
Yeah.
Even though it's not new. So that's the Nintendo strategy. It seems to be working. There's also big free updates coming to Animal Crossing, to no one's surprise.
Yeah.
And there are also updates to the My Nintendo app on the phone, which is sort of like your Nintendo account manager, but also in-game communicator app. It's pretty useful, even though it's imperfect. But for example, what the major thing really is, you're going to be able to buy games in the eShop on your phone. So like if someone says, hey, there was a big Mario Maker update, and you say, oh snap, I really wanted that game, you take out your phone, you buy Mario Maker, and then the next time you go to your Switch, Mario Maker's already installed because you just paid for it on your phone. So that update is, I think, out in Japan now soon, and will probably be coming soon to the US, I guess.
But yeah, as of this, like Mario Maker now is like a must-buy game for a Switch. Like this is
Mario Maker 2, yeah.
Yeah, Mario Maker 2
Definitely.
for sure. Like there is nothing else I want from the game. They filled every hole I cared about.
Oh, there's more things I could want from there.
I mean, yes, I would like a full Super Mario 2 like game style, but I understand why they're not going to do that.
My main concern is that if I make a boo house, I can't make that like field of infinite boos up in the ceiling. There's no way to do that with the right.
Yeah, I can let that go. I know that's.
I'm also mad that if you make a boo ring, apparently if you're inside of a dry bones shell, you can jump on kill the boos in a boo ring.
Ooh.
Which I'm not a fan of. Leave my boos alone.
I did not know that, because that's not something I could do in any old Mario game.
Mario Maker 2 has a lot of those things that like you don't realize the interactions between different enemies
and they're not
items.
really documented. Like there's that one YouTube channel.
Oh, they're documented, but it's you have to really
there's a YouTube channel
dig deep.
That I think I made a thing of the day a long time ago that does experiments to show specific undocumented behaviors and then show you how to use them in levels. Like,
yeah, if you watch Mario Maker 2 streamers, you will about once a day see something you didn't know before.
Yeah,
right? It's pretty fascinating.
So this is pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah,
I look forward to what you guys are making, and I am definitely going to make a world that I will share with all of you, and I want you to play it. I'm kind of excited.
I'm definitely making some Boo Fanto combinations, right? Like I don't think there is an official Mario game that has that combination in it. But imagine like you go in a room and you can't look left and right because there's boos, and there's a key. You grab the key, and now a Fanto's coming, and you got to run, but there's boos.
Yeah,
but the Fanto's coming.
Yep, you can do put a Fanto in one area, put a Fanto really far away from the key, so you pick up the key and nothing happens. I
don't know if you choose. I'll have to see the specifics of it, which were not revealed. I don't know if you position the Fanto or you just put a Fanto key and that's it.
Yeah, the thing I'm looking at doesn't even say anything about Fanto.
Right, so I'm not sure the specifics of how the things work.
Which is fine. All I really needed is the world making. Even if that was the only thing they added, I would have been equally jazzed for this release.
Right, and the world thing is, first of all, they let you do a full 8 worlds with up to 40 total levels in your eight worlds, and then on top of that, they gave you all the Koopa Kids, so you have bosses to fill your worlds.
Yeah, actual bosses, not just the same like boomer boss at the end of every level.
Right, and then on top of that, you think about how much fun you're going to have making your Mario worlds, however many you're allowed to make, right? You're going to get to play worlds made by other people.
Yep.
Like, this is like, it's not like right now you open Mario Maker today. And by the way, the update comes out tomorrow, the 22nd, and today's the 21st. So probably by the time you listen to this, the update will be out.
Yep.
You go open up Mario Maker today, and it's like, okay, play random levels created by other people. This will now be, oh, okay, I'm going to just go play entire Mario games. Right?
Yep.
Like the amount of content
You know
out
what it
there,
is? Singles used to come out, but now we have albums.
and you just have like tons and tons of albums. Like, every player will probably have at least one or two that they've made.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just like, I played a whole Mario world today. Tomorrow I'll play a whole different one. It's great.
All right. But anyway, it's time for Things of the Day. What do you got?
So, way back at one Kineticon, I forgot what year it was, friend of the show, Konstantin von Hoffman, did a panel that we accepted and put on the schedule called The History of Dice. All gamers love dice. I think even video gamers who don't play RPGs or anything.
I didn't get to
also
go to
love
this
dice.
panel because I was the head of panels and I was dealing with other stuff. But the feedback I got from that panel, that first time it was run at Kineticon, was A+ feedback.
Oh yeah, I went to the panel. It was A+, S rank panel even, right? About the history of dice, of interest to all nerds, and but there was no video of that panel, and there was no way for the general population to see it. However, Konstantin was at MagFest and did the panel at MagFest, and MagFest took videos of all its panels, and the video quality of the panels that MagFest recorded was low. They had like cheapo camcorders, right, on tripods that were not moving, but they were recording audio from the mixer boards in the room, and they, even though the cameras weren't moving and were pretty low quality and the lighting wasn't great, they did an okay job of making sure to get the speaker and the not the audio speaker, the person speaking,
the human,
and the projector screen in the frame. So the recordings of the panels, while not amazing, like like GeekNights panel recordings aren't that great, but these are not as good as those.
Yeah.
But because the audio is good enough to hear and you can see the screen, they are very much above the bar where it's like, yes, this is I'm not gonna not watch this.
Yeah,
right?
better than most conventions, videos for panels everywhere on Earth for all of time.
Right, exactly. The content comes through. You're not missing anything. So here is the video of Konstantin von Hoffman, MagFest 2020, The History of Dice.
5,000 years of the D6, 2,500 years of the D20.
Yes, this is a fascinating panel that is worth your 30 minutes of time to watch and learn all about everything you knew and didn't know about dice, one of the most important gaming components.
Yeah. So, my thing of the day, this is Tom Scott, which sure you've run into this person on YouTube before, just makes generally good videos, but are you familiar, Scott, with the concept in our language of a prefix?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the part of the word that comes before the main part of the word.
And how about a suffix?
Like if I said anti-rim, right? Anti would be a prefix.
Yep. Suffixes are also a thing. You're familiar with suffixes. You can stick stuff at the end. Are you familiar with
a rimism? Ism would be the suffix.
Are you familiar with the concept of an infix?
I can imagine what it means, but I can't think of an example of one right now.
That is because, with one exception, they do not exist in English, but they do exist in other languages.
Well, I imagine German probably has them.
So
they're like the kings of combo words, right?
This but this video explains the deal with infixes, but the part that's fascinating is that the one exception to the rule where we do use infixes in English, the exception is saying bad words like fuck. Abso-fucking-lutely is an infix.
Ah. There you go.
That is basically the only time infixes are used in English. Like 90% of all English infixes are the word fuck. And even better, this video does a really great job. You know when you're a kid in like middle school and you take Spanish class or French class and you start to learn how English worked in a way that was never taught to you before? The cool thing about this video is it points out that I know how to construct the word abso-fucking-lutely. But why does fuck have to go in that spot? Why does abs-fuck-so-lutely not work? Like, why does it have to be abso-fucking-lutely? This video explains the rule that we all knew and could never explain.
Absolute fuckly.
I feel like I'm going to try to affect in my language using infixes with the wrong emphasis.
So it can't go between the lee, because the lee is actually a suffix, right? So you got absolute, so it's absolute. So we can either go between the abs and the so, or between the so and the loot.
Yep.
So it could be abso fucking loot or abs fucking so loot.
Yeah, but the only one of those sounds right.
Absolutely. That's not too bad if it's pronounced that way. But it's obviously not as good as abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep.
Right.
So this video explains the full deal in less than 5 minutes. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Since we're in the meta moment now, one thing I will point out, we are obviously not going to be appearing at any conventions for the foreseeable future.
No, even though PAX West today did announce that they are still on, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people are mad about that, understandably, if they see an announcement like that and they don't understand the full deal.
Yep.
Right?
We do not have inside knowledge. Like, we're not about to reveal any secrets we know from PAX.
I don't know any secrets. However, I just know things in general about conventions. And what I know, and I'm not 100% sure if this is true, but this is just
let's say this. We cannot say if this is true or not for PAX in particular, but it is true of other similar conventions.
Yes, we have known this to be true of other large events, right, in general. And therefore, we could presume it might also be true for PAX and explain why they are saying they're still on in such a scenario, right? So you're having a big old event, right? You have a contract with the space that you've already signed years in advance. You have contracts with vendors, hotels, all kinds of people, right? If you just cancel your event and say, yeah, we're not having it, then, for example, the convention center can say, well, you signed this contract with us. You just cancel. You still have to pay us. You can't just cancel.
Yep.
Right?
Maybe the full amount. In many cases, it's the full amount. In other cases, there's a penalty fee that depends on the circumstances. It gets complicated.
Right. Who knows, right? Also, for example, the hotel nearby might be like, hey, I was holding some rooms for you that I could have sold. You canceled. I'm going to sue you to get, you made me lose money, right? And that, who knows if that lawsuit would succeed or fail. I'm not a lawyer, but that could happen. Right?
Yep.
And also, regardless of whether these sorts of things happen or not, your relationships with some of these other businesses that are, you're working together with for the convention could be harmed if you just cancel.
Now, you might think, but a global catastrophe like coronavirus, shouldn't humans just be able to do the right thing? The problem is humans have no say in this. It is law and capitalism that has a say. Right.
The contracts have already been signed years in advance. So the result is the final piece, and listen to a previous Geek Nights episode about insurance, right? If you are a big convention, you have insurance, right? And presumably, if you have some insurance to protect your event, to mitigate the risk of your event not happening, right? Which is a good insurance to buy if you're holding a large event.
Yep. If we have a Geek Nights
that insurance won't pay out if you cancel, right? It would only pay out if you are forced to cancel. Like, my insurance won't pay if I burn my house down. It would only pay if my house got burned down. So as a result, right, PAX cannot say we're canceling, right? Otherwise, they would be burned.
Yeah, well, conventions in general, because again, we don't know the specifics of PAX. But
right.
And it's even worse.
We can presume that might be the case. It's likely.
A convention in general can't even say, we'd like to cancel, but we can't yet, because that shows in legal terms, effectively bad faith, so that later, when you do have an excuse to cancel, people could still go after you saying, you were trying to cancel the whole time to get out of this contract.
Exactly. So as a result, PAX is sort of possibly, we can assume based on just logic, they might be forced to say that they are still on, even though the people behind it may be thinking, we're not having this, right? Until such a time as they are forced to. For example, if Washington State or the city of Seattle said, you can't have this PAX this year, you better move it or cancel it, then they can say, well,
it's out of our hands.
Pay us.
Or even
insurance,
even
give us
the
money.
Insurance, usually a lot of the contracts involved have clauses that cover all this stuff. Like, if the con can't happen for reasons, then basically everybody gets
we don't
out
owe
of their
you money now.
obligations.
Right, exactly.
So, but the fucked up part, capitalism-wise, is, let's say, and generally an event like PAX, other types of conventions, it would often be cheaper for them to run anyway. Say like it comes to the point where the government doesn't give them an excuse to cancel. They're not forced to cancel. It would probably be cheaper for them to run anyway, even if 0 people attend, than to cancel.
Right. So my my guess and my advice, right? So my guess is that PAX West 2020 has a less than 50% chance of happening.
Yeah, I'm feeling like 1 in 3 shot at best.
Yes. My advice is that if it gets, is if you really want to go, especially if you're close, why not buy a ticket? You get a refund if it cancels, right?
Yeah,
That could be that evil.
I trust PAX to give me refunds more than I trust pretty much any other goddamn con.
Right. If you're buying plane, I can always cancel hotel and get a refund on the tickets, but the plane tickets, if you want to fly to it, might be a problem. So make sure if you are buying plane tickets to PAX West 2020 to get refundable ones.
I mean, I'm not going to be... If PAX West looks like it's still going to happen and we get to August, I'm still not buying my tickets until right before.
Yeah, my plan is if it actually happens, will I go? Maybe.
Yep, depends on a lot of factors.
It depends on a lot.
Depending on how things go, it's not out of the realm that we could go to PAX Australia, but not to PAX West.
It actually wouldn't be too bad, because considering the fact that
like the U.S. might be in a situation where like U.S. cons are all canceled, but the rest of the world starts to have conventions again.
Right. If Australia lets us go there, right?
Yep.
We've got vacation days piled up, right? This storm could be resulting in us, going to PAX Australia in October.
Yep, but not going to any other PAXs because they may or may not happen.
We'll see what happens with
Yep, which will be fine because I've been to 2 PAX Australias. I threaten to return someday, and maybe I'll have to make good on that threat because I'm going to have a lot.
Did Australia ever fix their fire situation?
Yeah, that got better.
Okay.
Not saying everything's great, but that situation is not the immediate crisis.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know.
Well, I don't
know what's worse.
I was in Sydney and Melbourne during the height of that, and Sydney was so bad I could barely breathe just in the street.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion. So Luigi's Mansion is part of the Luigi video game series, which started with Luigi's Hammer Toss in 1990.
I never heard of that game.
Yep. Mario is missing. Luigi's
I'm aware
Mansion
of that game.
was the third Luigi game in 2001 on the GameCube.
Yeah, so I played the GameCube one as soon as it came out because I bought a GameCube on release day, and that was the launch title on the GameCube.
Yep, I remember I drove Scott to pick up his launch day GameCube at the Media Play.
Right. So the original Luigi's Mansion, I didn't play the second Luigi's Mansion, which I think was a
Dark
DS
Moon?
or 3DS game.
Yeah, I didn't play any of those. I didn't even
remember
play
it was
Luigi's
DS or
Mansion
3DS.
1. I watched Scott play most of it. That's how I
so
know
Luigi's
about General
Mansion
Beauregard.
1 was basically, it was it was a game where you walk around the mansion and you basically touch everything, right? So it's just almost like a fun house, right? Which is fitting for a haunted mansion, right? You go around and you interact with all the bits that you can interact with, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a painting on the wall, right? There's a desk, there's a bed, there's stuff. And everything sort of does something,
Yep.
right?
Not often a super game mechanic-y thing, but just like it'll react in some way that's mildly amusing.
Right. Or, sometimes you just push A to open a drawer. Sometimes you vacuum something off the wall, right? Because Luigi has his vacuum. And then this is intermittently dispersed with combat with ghosts, boos of sorts, right? Yeah. And all of
General
these ghosts...
Beauregard.
Right. They're sort of a combination of a puzzle, right? Of like, how do I get this guy? And also a little bit of action gamepad bitness.
But not
right?
too much. Like, you do not have
it's
to be
very easy.
good.
Right? It's like, okay, I have to get this guy from behind. Okay, I have to distract this guy and then get him, right? There's just a little bit of something strategy for each of the ghosts. Some of them are harder, easier than others.
This
they
is
get
why
harder
I
as
kind
the
of
game goes on.
I got bored with the original Luigi's Mansion pretty quick, and I didn't actually play I played like an hour of it and I was done.
Right. And then as you go on, as you catch more ghosts, more of the mansion unlocks, right? So you're going, to higher floors in the mansion, exploring more rooms, and eventually there's a boss and the game's over. So I didn't play Luigi's Mansion 2, right? But Luigi's Mansion 3 came out for the Switch, and I figured, why not? What else I have to do? And it's pretty much the same genre of game, right? You walk around this mansion, which is actually a hotel now, a haunted hotel. And you can interact with all the different things in the hotel. And as you go on, you catch ghosts with some minor little action gameplay.
Yep.
They give you, though, a lot more ways to interact, right? There's not just the vacuum and the flashlight and the Luigi pressing A.
Mario,
Right, you can say Mario, sure.
Mario?
You can, the vacuum sucks in and out. You can do sort of a radius poof with the
Yep.
vacuum.
So there's a
right?
lot more like kind of almost physics puzzles in a lot of the game. Like
Yeah, they're not quite physics puzzles.
Yeah,
they're
they're
almost
like-
like order
they're
of
edging into
operations
it.
puzzles.
yeah,
right?
or it's like all right,
oh,
I see a
have to
thing
do
up in
this
the
to that,
rafters.
then do this to that.
Yep.
Right?
Or like I see a thing in the rafters. How can I rustle the rafters jimmies? Because that'll probably knock it down.
Oh, I know. I have to suck this thing into the vacuum. It'll get stuck on the front, and then I'll shoot it out. I'll reverse the vacuum to shoot it like a projectile, right?
Yep. And you
Um,
basically go around just futzing with stuff and seeing funny animations and getting little cutscenes and sort of just exploring this mansion for several hours.
Right. Now, the key thing that they've added here in Luigi's Mansion 3 is Gooigi.
Which, the fiction of it, it appears that your soul inhabits this thing and leaves your body.
Right. So you could play a two-player co-op sort of situation where someone else is Gooigi, right? And you're Luigi. But normal single-player gameplay, you just switch between the two, right? And the deal with Gooigi is he's like another Luigi, but he has additional powers because he's made of goo.
Yep, like he can
go
walk through spikes.
He could walk through spikes. He could walk through the bars of a jail cell. He could go through a plumbing and come out the other end.
Yep.
But if he touches water, that's it. No good. And so you have to move Luigi and Gooigi in concert with each other, switching back and forth to sort of puzzle your way through different areas. And it's that puzzle element really is the additional thing that Luigi's Mansion 1 didn't have too much of.
Yep, and it
Right.
gave me enough meat to where, unlike Luigi's Mansion 1, where I got bored within about an hour and just didn't play anymore because it started to feel more and more samey, Luigi's Mansion 3 is keeping my attention. I'm gonna beat it soon. I'm near the end. I haven't beaten it yet
Right.
just because other games came out.
Right. Well, not only is it the puzzle aspect of Gooigi, right, and his incorporation, there's also the game is just bigger because it's on the Switch. It's not on the
Yep.
GameCube. You're going to this huge hotel with tons of floors. All the floors are unique. There's backtracking to different floors you have to do. There's a lot of secrets to find on each floor, right? There's like a boo radar you get to like, oh, okay, you cleared out that floor. That's great. But did you know there's a boo hiding on that floor? Do you want to go
Yep.
back and get it? It's hiding somewhere. You're going to have to solve a clever puzzle. Even though you found the boo, you might not be able to catch it until you figure out how to make it come out of its shell or whatever it's in, right? It's like, oh, I had to find the hidden thing behind the whatever.
Yep, and there's
Right.
just the right amount of those kinds of secrets, kind of like the new Mario Brothers, kind of like Breath of the Wild. Nintendo's really been on a kick lately of having a density of things to find without necessarily expecting you to find all the things, just to make sure that the density is sufficient to where pretty much anywhere you go poking around, you'll find something interesting.
Well, also the game, Luigi is trying to collect, I guess, money just generally. Right? And there's basically money everywhere,
Yep.
like constantly. So that money is sort of what gives you that psychological like reward impulse for interacting with every single thing in the game.
Yep.
Right? It's like you might just normally, it's like, okay, I only need to catch the boss ghost to beat this floor and get the elevator button to go to the next floor, right? I'll just run straight at the boss. So you run past a bunch of stuff. You could do that. Nothing's stopping you. I'm sure speedrunners will do exactly that. But a normal casual player goes down the hallway and there's 10 paintings. They're vacuuming every painting. They're flashing their flashlight at every painting.
Especially
They're-
kids. This game, like, I like it okay. Like, it's a pretty good game. Like, it's just worth playing. But this game is definitely aimed at kids. I can imagine me as a kid and other kids I've known vacuuming up every goddamn dollar in that entire hotel.
Oh, yeah. Right. So that's a ton of fun. And the other thing about this is that, Luigi's Mansion 1, thematically speaking, it was kind of samey, right? I mean, there were different rooms with slightly different themes.
But it was really
right?
capture 10 different General Beauregards.
Yeah, basically, right? It's like, but this one, every floor of the hotel is dramatically different.
Right.
And some of them, it's like, how is this even a hotel floor, right? And each hotel floor is almost like its own game, which tells its own story, right? And has its own boss that fits with that story.
Yep.
So like,
and like
there's
the radical difference, like the moment when I realized this game was actually big was when I got to the, like pretty early on, you get to the medieval floor.
the medieval floor is the biggest, craziest one so far.
Yep, but it's so big and different from everything you've seen in the game up to that point.
Right, there's the medieval floor. Then there's like this floor where there's a movie directing ghost, and you have to go to the different scenes they're directing. And there's a whole new that floor has its own mechanic of having to look through the camera, right? While one Luigi looks through the camera and the other one acts out the scenes in front of the camera. And when you look through the camera, it's like when you're not looking through the camera, all you see is a movie set.
Yep.
But when you look through the camera, you see the actual movie as it would look to the, whoever would be watching it in the theater, right? And you have to combine, adjusting the movie set with also, doing things in the movie to solve the puzzle of the room, and you have to solve all the rooms, right? And then, there's the floor, the Egyptian floor, where you go in, it's just a big room full of sand, right? And that floor is like, a crazy pyramid puzzle, right? But it's also, there's a sand mechanic on that floor. So it's like, not only is each floor thematically different, but they're also mechanically different. Each one of them introducing a new twist on how the game works.
Yep.
Right?
And
So even though you've already learned all of Luigi's abilities, they've given him, the first few floors, you gain all your abilities, your vacuum and your flashlight and, everything, your Gooigi.
Yep.
Then they're like, okay, you've got all the abilities. We're going to make you do something new with them every time.
And that's where this game shines, where the original Luigi's Mansion just couldn't get me. There's enough variety of stuff to do to where I don't get bored. As soon as I have to capture a ghost the same way multiple times in a game like this, I'm definitely going to get bored. But this game just keeps changing things up enough to where, despite having like Doom Eternal and all these other games to play, I'm finishing Luigi's Mansion, something I didn't really expect to do that quickly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it it definitely keeps your interest on each floor as you ascend, and then you beat it, and then you're good. You could play it again and try to be a completionist about it.
Yeah, I would not
do that. If you're the person who likes completing things like 100% and collect all the stuff, why don't you just play Animal Crossing instead? That's all you do in that game is collect all the stuff. That seems like a better choice. Luigi's Mansion definitely if you have the time and you have the money, and maybe it'll probably is the kind of game that Nintendo will actually put on sale for less than the full price at some point.
Yeah, you could wait. This game's not going anywhere.
Yeah, or you could buy the cartridge, play it, and then sell it to your friend or something like that.
That's a good pro move.
But it's definitely worth playing through once and being done with. Not like the all-time greatest game, but definitely, pretty interesting and, better than the first Luigi's Mansion.
It is also the first Luigi's Mansion. Like it looked so repetitive when I saw you playing it that I lost interest before I even got to the repetitive part.
Yeah, Luigi's Mansion 1 definitely had some of the repetition of catch 10 boos.
Yeah.
At least that's, it's been so long, right? That's just could be my faulty memory.
That's all I remember is you chasing down multiple General Beauregards.
There's only one General Beauregard, but it does feel like you're going around and getting, a lot of dudes. Whereas
the boos all had different names, but they all were the same. Like there was no actual difference between them.
There was some difference, but there's definitely the different bosses in Luigi's Mansion 3 are drastically different. And
also,
to the point
bonus
at which
points
they're different games.
The way you capture and defeat ghosts involves a surprising amount of ultra violence inflicted upon these ghosts.
Oh yeah, you suck them, and then you sort of have to slam them back and forth,
and
then they
rough.
lose enough hit. Once they lose enough hit points, then you can get them. Right.
So I guess after a 4-year hiatus, this is a good addition to the Luigi series of games. There's a whole Wikipedia page about the Luigi series.
Yep, you'll be waiting quite a while for the next one.
Because the last one was Luigi's Mansion Arcade in 2015, which never made it to the U.S. for probably obvious reasons. And before
I've seen pictures of that. It looks like one of those, sit-down rail kind of shootery things.
Yep. There was Dr. Luigi, which you never played because it was on the Wii U.
Ooh.
There isn't even a screenshot of Dr. Luigi on the Wikipedia page about Dr. Luigi. Dr. Luigi and bacteria eradication.
Yeah, I was right. Luigi's Mansion Arcade was a rail shooter situation where you just sit there. It's like a little vacuum in there.
Yeah.
So you just sort of sit on the seat and then vacuum ghosts while you're on rails, right?
Yeah, I remember I way back when I was younger and more naive, I was interested in all those Nintendo arcade systems that you could never get a hold of and never see.
Well, the F-Zero one is really
the F-Zero one was the only good one because even like the Mario Kart one was not actually good when I played it.
No. The Mario Kart one has a lot of interesting features, but they didn't give it the important feature of making it actually a competitive racing game.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Initial D lets you hold down the button to turn off the catch-up mechanism.
Yep, which I invariably will do, and then someone beats me by like a mile because they're good at
That's
the
all
game.
right. I'd rather lose that way
Lose with
than
dignity.
lose by 1 second because I got boosts.
Yep. So yeah, if you've never played a Luigi's Mansion game, and this sounds at all interesting, get this one. Don't bother with any that came before. This is the best one, like by far. If
I
you have
think
a
what
kid,
it is, there are games that are like, you buy the Switch for the game, right? You could buy a Switch for Breath of the Wild.
Yep.
You could buy a Switch for Mario Maker 2, right? You could buy a Switch for Animal Crossing.
Ain't buying a
what kind of
Switch for
person you are.
Luigi's Mansion 3. But
You're
if
not
you,
buying a Switch to play Luigi's Mansion 3.
but
But
if you got a
have
Switch,
if you got a Switch, why not get Luigi's Mansion
granted,
3?
it's basically impossible to get Switches now. They're sold out everywhere.
Well, you're going to be able to get one eventually.
Yeah.
Right, if you don't have one now. So.
But if you already got a Switch, like, you're probably bored and you have free time during the quarantine and everything. So, like Scott said, buy this on a cartridge because you will trivially be able to resell it or give it to someone later.
Also, I got to say, I personally predict, based on no information other than hunches and experience, there will probably be some sort of like Switch Plus, new Switch upgrade thing in the near-ish future, next year after.
I
something,
could see that.
you know?
I'd say within 2 years, definitely.
Yeah, something like, right? So I would, if you don't have a Switch right now and you're not desperate to play these games right now,
Yep, hold out.
I would if you can hold out. You got enough PC games.
I mean,
just
one,
hold
I'm
out.
curious what your deal was because Breath of the Wild was the everyone must buy a Switch.
Yeah, I
moment.
don't know why you didn't buy a Switch when it came out, but if
Like,
if you
you
still
know
didn't get
how
one,
down we are on console exclusives. Like, don't buy an Xbox just to play one game. But seriously, Breath of the Wild, if that was the only game I had ever played on my Switch, it was worth the money.
oh yeah,
And you're going to get a new Breath of the Wild. That's coming.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And Metroid Prime 4 is coming eventually.
Yeah, I'm excited about all these games. The Switch is the best console to have come out since the GameCube across the board, like hands down.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Think we killed enough time. There's not that
Good.
much to say about Luigi's Mansion, though. That's why we kind of
No.
got a little short here, because short of talking about individual bosses, which none of you care, just go experience.
I do
them.
have to say, if you want to, all right, the floor. There was a disappointment on the museum floor. It was a very short floor. After having those other floors before it that were
Yeah.
much longer and more involved experiences, that floor was done in like 2 seconds.
It felt a little bit like Castle Crashers. Once you got past the first 3 levels, you're like, wait a minute, these aren't that unique anymore.
Yeah, but no, it was good.
Yeah. All right. So let us know how this stream went, because honestly, this was a brand new streaming pipeline. People seem to say like it was going okay. I see people watching, but like I said, there are 3 OBSs, an Nginx server, and a bunch of nonsense making this episode come out to you live right now.
Mm-hmm. And if it's not live, then it's just a normal MP3, and you don't have to worry about
Yeah,
any live.
you don't know
viz.
about any of that. But if you want to heckle us in the chat, we do stream these things on YouTube, and unless this looks bad when I watch it myself later tonight, we will continue to stream them on YouTube.
All right, I have to go eat food.
Yeah, as do I. Good deal.